Hey everyone, today we're back learning some more SQL with Danny's 8-week SQL challenge. I love these challenges, they really get you interested and into the problem solving part of what you can do with SQL. If you are new to SQL, I do recommend checking out SQL Bolt. This is a great way to introduce you to the syntax before tackling some of these challenges. In this video, we're going to tackle case study 2, Pizza Runner. We're only going to tackle section A in this video. In this task, Danny's decided to start another business about combining pizza delivery with running, so he has a team of runners out there going to deliver pizza for him. As before, we can see the entity relationship diagram, see the tables we're working with and how they all join together. So we can see we've got 6 tables, so everything from our central table about custom orders to those runners, what the runners are doing in terms of deliveries and pickups, the runners and when they registered with Danny. You can see here that this will be a lookup table, so here this indication, this slash here, indicates there's one value here can result to many runners here. Okay, so this would be, hey, this is our runner 1 when they signed up on this date, and then in this list runner 1 may have several orders they need to go and deliver. That being said, we can then see here the order. We have one order here will relate to many lines in this customer orders table, as for example an order may contain multiple pizzas. So these are questions we're going to be tackling today about how many different pizzas were ordered in pizza metrics. For these challenges, Dan has provided you with a SQL code where you can go and write in your SQL queries right here and execute them in the browser. For me, I've kind of moved all the data over to Snowflake. So we have a Snowflake environment. I've moved all the tables here. You can see there's customer orders, names, and pizza toppings into its own schema in Snowflake, so I can get some practice with Snowflake at the same time. Okay, let's dive into this. So question 1, how many pizzas were ordered? If I go back to this entity relationship diagram, I can see I'm probably going to need customer table. That would tell me the number of pizzas and the number of orders as well. Okay, so I've got my table now, my customer orders. So these are going to be all the pizzas that have been ordered. So I can do a simple count. This count star. That would tell me there's 14. I'm going to give this an alias as pizzas ordered. That would be that. How many unique customer orders were made? Okay, so if I go back to select star from customer orders, give this a run. So I've got a customer ID field here, and I've got an order ID as well. So I'm going to find, so what this is asking for is the unique order, so a count of this order ID field, but just, we don't want any duplicates, we don't want 3 counted twice. So for that, I'm going to do the same count, but I'm going to do count distinct order ID, run that. That would tend to be 10. I'll give that an alias as well, unique customer orders. Okay, question 3. So how many successful orders were delivered by each runner? So I look back at my diagram, I can make this connection from customer orders to runners orders to find which ones were delivered. So looks like I'm going to be needing to join on order ID here to order ID here in runners orders. Okay, so if I do my select star from customer orders, I'll give this an alias as CO for customer orders. Then going to do inner join and runners orders as RO, and then going to do that, declare what my join is going to be on. So customer orders dot, there's that order ID equals orders done order ID. Okay, I'll give that a run. So we can see, looking at this runners orders table, that here we have some cases here where we didn't pizza was never picked up because there was a cancellation from the restaurant or cancellation from the customer in these cases. So these are the ones that weren't delivered. So we're going to need to filter these out. So how I can do this is do where so pickup time is not equal to null. So there we go. So now I've filtered out those pizzas that were never picked up. There's nothing else under cancellation. Null here is appearing in one case as special character null, and then other times just as a text version called null. So we don't need to worry about that. Okay, so let's finish this query off. So how many successful orders were delivered by each runner? So if I go, I need to find a count by runner ID. I want to do a count of distinct order ID. By order ID. Yep. And so I'm getting called out for an ambiguous column. That's because order ID doesn't know which table I'm pulling it from. So in this case, I can go RO. In this case, okay. Call this. So call that delivered orders. Give that a run. I can probably make this a bit more efficient by removing customer orders here. So this table's not customer orders. I'm not really using for anything. So I can rewrite this query just from runners orders and see what that looks like. There we go. And we get the same result without having to do a join, which is good for performance. So from my relationship diagram, I know that order ID, there's one order ID per row in this table. So what I can do is get rid of this distinct as well. I don't need to run that. Yeah, you can see these are the same value, so I don't need to run that distinct. Okay, so there's that answer for question 3. Okay, question 4. So how many of each type of pizza was delivered? So I can start off using what I've done before. So I know how many orders were delivered. I've just got to find what were those pizzas. So I can start with this. So I can start from runner's orders where my pickup time is null. I can go and I need to find out what those pizzas are. So I can go do my inner join to my customer orders and CO on RO dot order ID equals CO dot order ID because the relationship diagram tells me that's how we connect these two. If we go back to, we get rid of this aggregation for a second. It's not going to help us too much. In this case, I'm just going to just put star in here. Oh, I put minus here. Invalid number type, so I'm trying to minus these two. I need equals. Okay, so I know my delivered orders. I can now find here my pizza ID. So my pizza ID here, I can now work out what my pizza names are. My little diagram, I've got my pizza ID here. I can then link that up to my pizza names here to work out those different types of pizza. So I've got my runners, I got my pizzas, I got my order ID, how many of each type of pizza was delivered. So I can do a simple count of my different order IDs. They're not distinct here anymore, which is fine, which is good because we just want the same as the number of pizzas. Even if I was to say put in pizza ID here, we will still get these duplicates coming through, which is fine. So I want to take a count of those. There's pizzas delivered. I can get rid of runner ID, don't need that. How many of each type of pizza? So pizza name, count the number of pizzas, take that and add that to my group by expression. Delete that, and give this a run. Okay, so there we've got our pizzas and how many were delivered. Okay, question 5. How many vegetarian and meat lovers were ordered by each customer? So from question 4, we've got our orders by pizza name, so we can use this to work out the customers as well. So if I take this query, I can then go and put in here from my custom orders, I should have, yes, a customer ID, comma, and then if I add that to my group by statement, give that a go. Okay, so I have my different customers. I have how many vegetarian. So I have that data there. I can rearrange this slightly. Okay. So one thing to be careful of. So it says here how many were ordered by each customer. So these are the ones were delivered. So what we've seen is some don't get delivered. So I can rearrange what I've got here. So I can first off get rid of this pickup time here. Okay, so that should change this to pizzas ordered. Okay, I also don't need to start with runners orders. I can start with customer orders. So I remove that section. I can then remove the join here. Okay, there we go. So there's that answer for my different customers. I have the pizza names and the pizzas they've ordered. Okay, question 6. What was the maximum number of pizzas delivered in a single order? So what I would need is a count of pizzas for each order. So if I go into my customer orders, if I have my order ID, I can count my pizza ID. Group by order ID. Okay. Okay, so I've got my count. I can also order by. The question is asking pizzas delivered though in a single order. So I need to go back to runners orders just to double check which ones actually got picked up and delivered. So if I start giving this an alias, I'll give it that CO alias. So inner join runner orders. I can bring in pickup time here. Okay, so yeah, so we can see these different pickup times. This one here, no, I can get rid of those. So where pickup time is not. Oh. Okay, so let's come back. Now I can remove pickup time from my grouping. So to find the maximum, so I've got my ordered pizzas ordered in a list, so starting from largest to smallest to return just one result. So I would go here and say limit 1, which will return one result. You might have a different system which says top 1 will also work. Same result, okay? Okay, this is where it starts getting a bit more challenging. So for each customer, how many delivered pizzas had at least one change and how many had no changes? Okay, so if we dive into our customer orders, we can see when it means changes, we're talking about these exclusions and these extras being here. Now I need to try and change this into a useful column because you can see here, sometimes it's null as text, sometimes it's just empty, sometimes it's null as special null, and then sometimes it's an actual change going on here. So we need to be able to identify these changes. I'm going to reduce the columns down. So what I can do here is lean into some of the text manipulation functions that are available to us. So one function I like using for these cases is length. It will tell me the number of characters in these columns. So if I go for length on exclusions, if I give that a run, so here I can see, hey, these are 0, where exclusions is blank. A length can be greater than 0. So that will return me a Boolean argument that's true or false. So in this case, no exclusions here, so this comes back as false. Okay, so I can use this to work out my different examples, my different cases. In case being the term to use, because we're going to use a case statement to fix these other conditions. Okay, so I can keep going with this expression. So I've gone here and said exclusions doesn't equal null or length is greater than 0. So the and or. So in this case, it is not null. So of course it's coming back as true in that case. So it meets that condition. So I need to change this to and. So there we go. So those are coming back as false. So there's no changes there. True, true, false there. So this is looking good. This for exclusions looks like it's working. And I can do a very similar piece of code for extras as well. So in this case, yeah, order 1, no changes, no changes. Ooh. So what we can do here is change this to order. Okay, so in this case, I think it all looks good apart from this. So because this is null actually as null as a special character, there's different functionalities to handle these. So if I was to say extras is not null, and that. So is not null just identifies this as null, as potentially in the future we'll just add that here as well to exclusions. Okay, so now we go. So now we're able to handle that case for that null. How many pizzas were delivered? So we need to go and join to my runners orders and find those deliveries. That comes back. Okay, so these are now delivered pizzas. Okay, so let's change this for a custom ID. And then how many delivered pizzas? So I can just count my pizza ID in this case. And then I need to group by these two. This is generally like quite horrible to put something like this in a group by statement. You can get away with doing 1 and 2. It's a bit lazy. And sometimes it's quite hard to debug what you're doing, but in this case, it makes the code quite long to put in all of this as well. So if I go and run this, I can see those changes there, so I can see my counts of each customer, how many changes do they want or not. But it looks like what it's asking for is this in separate columns, so how many had at least one change and how many had no changes. So what I can do is I can use a case expression here to work out these different columns to then count. So I give that a run. I can see here then, in this case, so there was no change on those first few, so there's no so that's coming back as 0. They had at least one change, and how many had no changes? Okay, so that's coming back. I can then do the reverse for no changes. Okay, so changes, no changes, those should be okay. Now I just need to group by my different customers. So what I can do here is do a sum. So I do a sum of this, and I do a sum of this column. No changes, so no changes. I can then group by my customer ID. Group by my customer ID. Okay, so we can see my query here a bit easier. So I've got my customer ID summing for if there's an exclusion 1 else 0 as changes, no changes, group by the customer ID, where they were delivered. I give that a run, and we'll see those results come back. Okay. Okay, question 8. So, how many pizzas were delivered that have both exclusions and extras? So, we've done this before. So, we stumbled into this early, in fact. So, we have this section here where we work out the exclusions and the extras. So, we can lean on this for most of the work. So, if I go and select again for my custom orders, select start from customer orders. I then can also do this section, the inner join, to work out how many of those orders actually were delivered. So I can do a select star there. I will also want to know how many pizzas that were delivered. Yeah, so I can go say for my order ID in this case, I want to know, give it an alias in this case, otherwise it's going to complain at me. So I can find my exclusions, I can find my extras. Okay, so if I run that, oh, I need to have a semicolon there from the previous query. Run that. So okay, so I can see my different orders. So from the previous query, we worked out when there was an exclusion, when there was an extra being added as well. This is asking for both of those together. So last time we universally got this wrong. We did and when we should have done or. Here we can use this again. So if I have this query in here, so this will tell me if we have an exclusion or we have an extra. I can then change this to do and show both of those as any change. So I give that a run. Okay, so we just need to find a case where that has happened. So here, so order 10 had some things excluded, some things added. Okay, so that's our one case there. So I can move this query into a where clause, so I can do the filtering there. Exclusions of that and exclusions of that. I can get rid of this case, and I can just do how many pizzas. So I can just do sum of pizza ID. Nope, not sum, it's going to be count. Count of pizza ID. Okay, there we go. I use the where clause here to do that filtering for me, and then just do a simple count of the pizza ID. Okay, question 9. So what was the total volume of pizzas ordered for each hour of the day? So if I go into my select star from customer orders, run this. So we can see I've got an order time here, so I'm going to need to do some date time function on this. So if I go for my ordered time, I know that there's a function called date part, which will allow you to extract one part of this date time function. If I go and change this to hour and order time, so now I can get the total hour of each of the day, or when those orders happened, total volume of pizzas ordered. So I can just go and count pizza ID, and I can go and group by our date time. So for our different hours of the day when our pizzas are being ordered. Question 10. So what was the volume of orders for each day of the week? So I've got some work I've done here before from question 9 about the hour of the day, so I can just copy this. So if I can change date part to DOW for day of the week, change the group by here for DOW, day of the week, and I need to change this to day. So what this will return you is a numerical value based on the day of the week. Probably not going to be very helpful for someone looking at this. So I know there's another function I can use from Snowflake which will tell me the day name. and that is called day name. Day name. So it just takes that date timestamp expression, in this case order time, call that day 2, and we'll add this to our group by, just for now, just so we can see the difference. So there we go. So we can get the partial day of the week coming back. So the first 3 letters, which in this case I think is fine. I'm going to get rid of that, So now we have question 10, our volume of orders each day of the week. Okay, thanks for tuning in for that one. Hope this has been helpful to you. Check back next time. We'll dive into section B of these questions and then later on section C and onwards. See you in the next one. Bye.